We got in our trade deadline winners and losers. The Ravens being one of them, the Cowboys being one of them. So, I mean, why don't we crack into the trade deadline winners and losers now that it is officially come and gone? And, we were just talking about the Ravens. So, let's talk about the Ravens a little bit on this one, right? They're the only team in that very mid AFC North to make a move. Even if it was just Draymond Jones, like I said, he's had a really nice October. He's been getting to the quarterback, doing some nice things. Y'all needed some defensive line help. And well, like y'all been saying, they're climbing back in the division now. Now that they're back in it, granted the Steelers just laid hammer on the Colts, and that doesn't help. But the Ravens are again they got their stride back on offense, a little bit of swagger back on offense. The defense, getting some get right games here going. And look, that's going to be a division where they could probably win with 9 wins, perhaps. So to go get someone to help fill a little bit of gap while no one else did anything in that division, besides the Bengals actually got rid of Logan Wilson, and now we're stuck with 2 of the worst middle linebackers you could ask for to just ensure that defense continues to suck out loud. That's like really the only other move that was happening in the AFC North. So while everyone stayed the same and stayed very mid, if not bad, the Ravens at least went out and did something. So for me, that they're one of the winners from the deadline.
I don't know. I don't know.
I mean,
listen,
you just got to win the division, get the playoffs.
Yeah, but I know. But to know the Jets was letting go of Sauce Gardner, I would have rather us say, "Hey, listen, whatever they want, let's send." We haven't got a top first round pick in years. We've been picking at 30 for the. So if it was only 2 first rounders. Because we need a shutdown corner. Kyle Hamilton is a good safety, but we need a good shutdown corner. To me, was more important than the D lineman, because I think with scheme, with Roquan Smith back and just Cal Van Noy back and scheme with blitzing and being aggressive, you can get some pressure on the quarterback. But it's not going to mean anything if Humphrey is barbecue freaking chicken every week. Like Wiggins, we just don't have corners to me that we can say, hey, take away, because when we get in the playoffs, we're going to have to take away Rice. We're going to have to take away even Shakir was looking good for Buffalo. In Indianapolis, we got guys in the AFC that we need to be taken away. And I was just sad that if the Jets were going to let him go in the AFC, why wouldn't we go get him? Which
true.
I
mean, it's fair. I'm just looking at it in the perspective of like, you just got to make the playoffs
for sure.
And to me, when I see that, it's like, well, at least the Ravens did something. I mean, it wasn't a big move, but they did something and got a guy who's kind of feeling himself and playing some damn good football right now to come in and help you where you're kind of lacking and bolster that pass rush. And maybe the strategy is like, well, let's just get to the damn quarterback and let our quarterbacks be good, because we got a lot of pressure, and we can get coverage, like not coverage sacks. We can our cornerbacks are getting bailed out because the pass rush is getting home and getting pressure and stuff like that. Maybe that's what they want to do. So the fact that no one else in that division did anything and everyone is very mid, if not bad, the Ravens has made a move to at least help them at least win the division. That's all they need to do. They just need to win the division.
Which I hope. Yes, which I hope. And I'm going to tell you, the biggest loser, Austin, is the Dallas Cowboy fans, man. Jerry does this to them every. I don't know why. They're the biggest losers because they let Jerry get them. All he's trying to do is trying to make y'all think that he cares. One game too short. If you were going to make these fucking trades or you were going to do some things to improve your team, you could have did it. But see, he's a master manipulator. He knew after that loss, I had to do something so they can think we're still going to have a chance. Man, the Cowboys season is fucking over. There's no need to bring Quinnen Williams. And you brought a linebacker who was on the defense that's worse than your defense, who wasn't even playing that much in Cincinnati because they were benching him. I'm telling you, that's the biggest loss. The fans.
I mean, you got to see through it. Let's see. How did the Micah Parsons trade fully play out for the Cowboys? They gave up Micah Parsons, Maisie Smith. Is it Maisie or Mozzie? Mozzie Smith. And they essentially gave up Parsons, Smith, and a 2026 second round pick, and acquired Quinnen Williams, 30-year-old Kenny Clark for 1 or 2 seasons, and a 2026 first round pick. Oh, dude, don't love that. You got
It doesn't make sense to me. I'm telling you, it does
ah,
not make sense. And don't get me wrong, Quentin Williams is a
damn,
hell
he's
of a
nice.
football player. But come on, Dallas. Okay. Just I
I
feel
mean,
bad for him. I really do feel bad for because it's too late. They don't. It's the season's over. They're done.
yeah,
They're
and
done.
they tried to sugarcoat it in, I initially had them as a winner. I can see it in the sense of like as the fans being big losers for the Cowboys' sake is like they at least, if they at least ended up with Quentin Williams, they at least ended up with one extra first round pick. And I think what they're doing here is like you knew if you signed Parsons, you had nothing. That roster was going to have to be a bunch of JV dudes. You would have not been able to do anything in terms of signing anyone. And so now at least like they do have more money to freed up to pay other people's like the Jake Fergusons of the world. So I think it was inevitable that they were going to have to move Parsons given like who they decided to pay, which I think they made a couple mistakes or at least a mistake. But the way that Parsons trade played out for them, like we just listed off, I would not take I would not take what the Cowboys got at the end of the day for that Parsons deal
No way.
for what they gave up. Hell no.
No.
Hell
Not
no.
a generation.
2 defensive tackles and a
Yeah.
first round pick for a generational pass
I
rusher.
mean, a
And
generational pass rusher. And don't get me
oh,
wrong, I think Clark and Quentin Williams in the inside will
it's
help
nice.
the
But Clark's short
run
term.
because it will help the run because their linebackers are bad. But also, Austin, are you looking at those DBs? That is the worst. I mean, Deron Bland was just all pro a few
He's not
years
good.
ago. Marvin
Al Harris.
Harrison Jr. had a fucking field day with him this week. So it's like you did something, but come on, Jerry, y'all are losers. So I
It
mean,
was sugar coated.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
Indianapolis is looking good though. I can't say that though. Sauce Walker,
yeah.
Sauce Gardner.
Yeah. Hey, Colts are a big winner. We got to say the Colts
Come
are a
on
big
now.
winner. They're a very good team. Granted, they just had the
Mm,
loss. Colts are a big winner here, right? They just lost, but they added Sauce Gardner. Say
mm.
what you will about his season this year. He's still got like insane potential to end up as one of the all-time cornerbacks. And the Colts, I never thought I would say this. There's an NFL team going all in and building around Daniel Jones. Who would have thought you would be saying that to give up 2 first-round picks to build around Daniel Jones is again statement I never thought I'd have to make. But the Colts are going all in on that offensive line, on Jonathan Taylor, on Daniel Jones, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs at the slot. They gave up AD Mitchell, whatever. That was like
Yeah,
way back. He's got potential. He was nice at Texas, but I mean, now that defense hasn't been bad, they definitely need a corner help, and they went and did it. And they said, "Why not us? Hey, why not us? We're having the year. We don't know if we're ever going to get this again." But I respect the Colts' moves. I love that they decided to
me
go
too.
really aggressive with that
Me
one,
too.
and so I think they got to be a big winner. What about the Jets? I have them as a winner. Do you have the Jets as a winner or loser here for kind of off selling?
Now, I have them as a loser if they don't keep
Okay.
Aaron Glenn because I see what they're doing. Let's get some picks in. Let's free up some money. We're going to give him a couple years to build in the draft. Let's draft some good guys, some winners. Let's get us a franchise quarterback. Yes, that's a win because they know this team is not a guy or two away. You need a couple years. Now, I do say if you don't give him 2 to 3 years, then what the fuck did you do all this for? I mean,
Yeah,
me.
and I mean the only losers from the Jets are Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Brees Hall's name's already getting floated. They keep him there. He's stuck there now. Garrett Wilson and Brees Hall's talent is just going to get completely wasted in a team that's not going to win. One of them the team doesn't even seem to want. Brees Hall will probably get packaged up or traded or something in coming time. We'll see. But now, like you said, the Jets for 2026, right? So in 2026, the Jets have 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and in 2027, they have 3 first-round picks.
Come
So
on
there's
now.
a lot of
Come
things
on
that they
now.
can do with that.
Come on
However
now.
they decide to do it, they got a lot of things they can do with it. And look, good for them for acknowledging this season's cooked. No matter what we win, we are getting that first pick in the
Come on.
draft, it seems like. And why not go full tank mode? So I respect them that they stock the F up on those draft picks, acknowledge that their season's cooked, they're done, barbecue chicken, and let's build for the future
They
because
better draft a
this ain't it.
quarterback, though. If they don't draft a quarterback, then why keep Brees Hall and why keep
Yeah.
Garrett Wilson? They
I,
have to draft a quarterback this year, though.
it's great pieces to build around, but
Yeah,
like you got that feeling like Brees isn't going to want to stay there unless he gets insane money, and you got that feeling there's already some. We were open to moving him if someone was going to
yeah,
take him, so it doesn't feel like they're even committed to Brees Hall. And so it seems like they're going to need a new running back too. And like we said, Michael Carter, he got kind of a bad shake. It felt like there because he was a good runner. They let him go, but they do have Braylon Allen who looked really good too before
oh,
his injury.
please,
So
yeah,
I think the Jets were at least a winner for acknowledging that they're fucked and
for
hey, we had to do
sure.
something. Another big winner. Got to acknowledge the Seahawks / Sam Darnold, whichever one you want to pick. The Seahawks already a top passing offense in football. They're having some insane downfield success, almost like unsustainable kind of downfield success. But they went out then and got Rashid Shaheed. It's one of the best guys you can get to help you with downfield plays and just more, take the top off and deep threat type of stuff. So it wasn't really it was kind of an uninspiring wide receiver core that they got outside of Jackson Smith and Jigman. I'm a big Torrey Horton fan.
Yeah,
He's just young. He's done some nice things,
he's
but
coming
he has
along.
yeah, he could. I think he would have gone way higher in the draft if not for injuries because he's a really nice
For
player. He's
sure.
really nice. Cooper Cup, he is it. It's you
So
can't really.
yeah, it's
You're
over.
not going to get a ton. Yeah, you're not going to get a ton out of him at this age. He's hurt right now, and granted, he's definitely helping these young cats too. But it's not really the most inspiring wide receiver room, as you can tell by how often they're leaning in They're leaning into their 3 tight ends a lot out there. So going out and get him to add to that pass offense, as good as it's been, man, that's going to be that's good for the Seahawks. Bad for everyone else in that division, though,
Yeah,
that the
that
Seahawks made
division
that
is
move.
tough, though. I'm not gonna lie to you because Seattle looked good, and people underrate organization coaching. I mean, Sam Darnold is looking, and I know we say this about everybody, but he's looking like an MVP guy. And I'm kind of glad that he's there and he's lighting it up. And like you said, so I've never really laid my eyes on Jackson Smith and Jigba for real. But to see him play this week, he's top 5, and I mean, because
He's
that's
amazing.
all they got. So it's knowing that that's all they got, and you're going to game plan to get him out the game, and he still be able to just take over a game. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he is legit, and if he was a little bit bigger, he would be literally
Oh,
unstoppable. But
he's a freak.
that's
He's
a
another
tough
one of
division.
those. He's another one of those guys where, again, I hate the amount of stock that gets put into the combine sometimes. It's a useful event, but I can't stand the amount of stock that gets put into what a guy does in shorts compared to what he does on the field because his field play, I just saw a chart of it today. The speeds he's achieving on the field wasn't like you would not have guessed he was like that was his speeds if you just watched the combine and just took his combine numbers. He's one of those guys where he plays so much faster than the combine numbers tell you.
Cook.
Like Bucky Irving. Bucky Irving's another guy. He had a terrible combine. Oh yeah, and it tanked his draft stock. But if you watch him just play football, it's like, well, no one can tackle this guy. He's in the end zone and he's breaking every freaking tackle. He's got the most yards after contact. He's incredible. And he goes to the NFL, and what do you get? You get more of what you saw on film, not what you saw at the combine. And JSN was kind of one of those guys for me too. So if you want to stick in that division, though, a team I think was a big loser coming out of this one was the 49ers.
Ah,
They went and got nobody. They're injured up and down that entire team. They've been winning at seemingly kind of when you think of the injuries and how many there have been, the winning kind of seems unsustainable at that clip, given that they have so many long-term injuries and so many guys keep just hitting the shelf now. And look, if they sustain more injuries, right, especially with the Seahawks beefing up, especially with the Rams playing incredible football, like it feels like they need to go do something. Just get something, some extra depth somewhere. You're too banged up to do absolutely nothing. Expect like, yeah, this will probably keep going great. Like you guys are literally, I don't know. I think the 49ers hit themselves big by not getting anything given the circumstance of where their roster's at, all the injuries. They are, they got a weird Mac Jones, Brock Purdy thing at quarterback now that they're going to have to try to balance, and Kyle Shanahan's going to have to figure that whole situation out. But I don't know. I feel like they were big losers by doing nothing, especially when the Seahawks go and get
yeah.
Shaheed.
And I thought they should have got somebody, but one thing about Kyle Shanahan, he has like this arrogant cockiness to him, which I like. I like as a coach to understand, hey, listen, I'm been out coaching people all year. I've been out coaching people for the past 5 years. I've been winning with Brock Purdy. I can win with Mac Jones. I can win with E-Man. I can win with Austin if they get on this team because I can coach. And I do think that's undervalued in the NFL's coaching. So I'm with you. I thought they should have brought in, especially like I said, if you knew the Jets were letting Quentin Williams go, that you knew some guys you need a little help on that D line, but I think Kyle Shanahan just understands, man, I can outcoach most of these coaches. So we just going to ride it out and go from there.
Hey, that only goes so far until you start playing against really good teams with really good coaching in the playoffs, and they actually got starters, and you're playing with guys who have maybe played a couple games, or you're just still banging the hell up. I mean, they've been suffering so many
Injuries,
injuries
yeah.
it's over these
Man,
last couple years. It's insane. Someone I got as my last loser from the deadline, even though they just beat the Chiefs, is the Bills. Right? They're still. Everyone was saying they need to get another pass catcher, something that they can help stretch the field a little bit. They didn't get, Rashid Shaheed was a big target name for them. Chris Olave, even Jacoby Myers was another name that fans were clamoring for something. And we all know they got bad safety play. And safeties generally aren't the type of players that are getting tossed around in the trade deadline, especially not like the best ones.
yeah.
So there's only so much you could do there. The defense has still not been that good this season, and they did nothing to change that. Joey Bosa's had some, resurgent moments, but as long as the safeties are what they are, and as the defense hasn't been that great, and people are already asking for Bobby Babbitt to not be the play caller on defense anymore, if they want to get over that Chiefs hump in the playoffs, and again, I'm an outsider perspective, but it seems like a lot of sentiment among the Bills fans is the same. Is like this team doesn't feel as well equipped or coached as in the past years. And again, McDermott, fine, but it doesn't feel like they have that same mojo and swagger as in past years, to where making no moves at the deadline makes the most sense in order to get over that Chiefs hump in the playoffs, because it's coming. Right.
Yeah.
Everyone watched that game. 35 million people watched that game because we know what that game is. So it feels like that Josh Allen Super Bowl window, I don't know how much longer it's going to be open at this point.
But here, right here. Right here.
How many more years?
Here.
It's like Green Bay. How many more years do you need to not get over the hump before that window's closed?
Two. He got two. And I respect, they're trying to stay encouraged with Keon Coleman, and because Steve Smith been getting on him just like he's not the guy. But one thing coaches got to be able to see: if you're not it, you're not it. Let's just admit we drafted him in the first round. He's not the guy. Let's go get somebody, because he's just not it. So it's respectable that they're trying to still say, hey, we're going to give you some time to keep developing. But like you said, Josh Allen doesn't have forever. He needs one more piece, because Dalton Kincaid played pretty well.
I like him.
Chief and Shakur is good, but you need one more. And like I said, they thought Keon Coleman was going to be that guy, which he was terrible at the combine. He ran like a 4.6, which kind of threw me off because he wasn't super dominant at Florida State. So I didn't kind of understand that pick.
I liked watching him at Florida State.
You didn't like? I don't like big, slow guys. The NFL's too fast for big, slow guys.
That's fair. I mean, I have a tweet out there somewhere, but I was watching a lot of Florida State, and when him and Trey Benson were there, and I was like, man, these boys are fun to watch. I mean, Keon he was catching everything. He won't beat nobody, but it seemed like he caught every contested catch. And I was like, God,
you got to separate in the NFL, though.
Yes.
That's one thing. Even if you don't run fast at the combine in the 40, you got to be able to get out of your breaks fast, have quick lateral movement. He doesn't separate, and that's a big deal in the NFL.
Yep. And so they didn't get that field stretch. Shakir is great for short stuff, and he can turn a small play into something big. That's a great weapon to have. But when Keon Coleman is not separating, he's certainly not your separator downfield, and you don't got that guy who can take the top off of a defense like a Christian Watson, like a Rashid Shaheed perhaps, like it hinders what your offense can do. It kind of caps you. It doesn't – less stuff opens up on the underneath stuff. And you got Josh freaking Allen, man. You got one of the best, most talented arms to ever come in the game with he can sling that thing across the whole field. He can throw that thing a million miles. And you got no one for him to really do it to. So them not doing anything to bolster that offense, they still got a lot of talent. It seems like that's a team that, with Josh Allen and what they do got, they could still drop 40 on you. The defense, there is going to have to start pulling a bit more weight, though, that's for sure. And they didn't do anything there. So I think the Bills made a costly mistake to not do anything to kind of get over the hump this year.
For sure.
And then, of course, you got the last big losers of this trade deadline is the Miami Dolphins, and all those poor Dolphins fans out there. Like we said, Jalen Phillips, really the only move they're making. Their season is effectively over. Their future is incredibly uncertain. from a coaching perspective, from a quarterback's perspective, from a roster perspective. They would have been smart to pile up on draft
Yeah.
picks mid-season while their value is highest to all these other teams who are looking to make a move, looking to make an in-season acquisition to maybe put them over the top, get on track. But they end up keeping Minka Fitzpatrick. They keep Jalen Waddle because their price was way too high per some other teams that were kind of in on the mix on them. And they keep Bradley Chubb, all three guys who were names that were on the block, and potentially even A-Chain, which was an alleged rumor for some teams. Who knows if he was as serious of one, but the Dolphins sit back and kind of just sit on their hands, do nothing, acquire nothing. Draft picks stay the same for the most part. They get a little bit out of the Eagles for Phillips, but otherwise, just for this team to stay put doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Again, they stay put if they're feeling like, yeah, we're going to be competitive. We can do something with the guys we have in here. But I don't think anyone in their right mind is really even thinking
Yeah.
that. But at the same point, like, this is a team that is comfortable and happy with running the show with Mike McDaniels there doing his thing, whatever that is, running down the sidelines in capri pants. And we'll see how that strategy works out for them. But for them to just sit on their hands and essentially do nothing this trade deadline when there was value to be had, moves to be made, picks to be acquired while the value is going to be highest, for them to do really nothing is extremely surprising. And yeah, those poor Dolphins fans, man, and they're just going to have to watch another. The rest of the season is useless to them. They're not going to be competitive. Even if they are, let's
Yeah.
be honest, they're not making the playoffs. There's just no chance. Should some act of God happen to make the playoffs, this team's not doing anything with it. So, yeah, feel for the Dolphins fans, but definitely another losing squad from this trade deadline.